This will be a video that will be another basic base building video along with the old basic base building video that we already have. This time I'll try to go a little more in depth, maybe talk about slightly different things. I won't talk about things like NGs and things like that. There's some other videos been made for that. But I'll try to talk mostly about how to get into T2 and the different strategies. But I'll still go through the beginning. So the basic build here will be a few PGens, 5 PGens, 3 mexes, 2 facs, and out into the field. Got my first NG out. Like to use the first NG to help the ACU build the early PGens. You can see how that happens. You just guard, that way it doesn't have to move around. Also very nice to get those early rocks. And the first 2 NGs I like to think of as just capturing most of the map. Early scout's very important. You gotta see what the computer is doing. And then of course the factory attack move. This way the NGs that come out, they'll get all these resources that are all around. So if you look at our power and mass, you see we're using most of it. That's a key that you want to do. So after our commander finishes the second factory, you want to get him out into the field. Second factory is just going to be tanks. You can throw in an NG in there just for fun. As soon as we got this first 2 NGs here, well, these are actually third and fourth, we're gonna have them be responsible for power. But before they're doing power, we're gonna have them make a hydro and an airplane factory. So we see our first 3 factories: 2 ground, 1 air, a whole bunch of power. Since this is 3603, you gotta make power storage between your power spams, PGen spams. You want to throw in a couple power storages. So as you see, as the RSU is walking up, you can get them to help out with a hydro. See it build quite a bit of distance. See, we want to get the radar out of there as far as possible and get some units to protect our NGs that are out in the field. See, we have another NG here. He can be responsible for making a few more factories, because we'll need a lot of units. So we'll call this one facs. This one power. See 3 types of NGs: factories, power, and the ones that are getting mass extractors. That's kind of how you want to think about this. Also, you want more protection for the NGs that are out there. You can see we have a radar coverage in most of the map, so we can't really get sneaked up on. Instead of making new build orders for these, you can just have factories guard previous factories. You can see the situation. If we have units doing nothing, just sitting in the field, sitting in our base, gotta send them out into the field. Looks like our commander, yeah. And the commander is good, push it as far as possible, capture the mass extractors. First, as soon as we get a little air, get it to scout. So these 2 teams of NGs, one's for factories, one's for power generators. I like to have 3 on each, but that's based on map. So it's really hard to call a perfect number. So you see, as we have plain scouting, you want to see what they're doing. It's AI, so they're not really doing much of anything useful. If you see our power is going down right now, we can always pause the air factory. Wait till we get a little more. So as you see, we have a pretty good eco at this point because we didn't really get raided. You can get an early T2 mass extractor. Either go with a whole bunch of gotta get a couple more of these. So now you see we have 3 NGs out there getting mass extractors. That one's already done. 3 NGs on power, 3 NGs on factories, but now they're not doing factories, now they're helping mass extractors. And we can see we have enough power, we can let our units build air. If you have excess power, you can always put more NGs on your air factory. So see, as soon as we're done with this, no really reason to pause it. Just old habits from 3599. See, our commander is really close to a base, you can push it even further. If you see a couple NGs out in the field, we can get them close to the ACU. That'll give us more options later. You can see, as soon as we end this, you see we're in a really good position to choose what we want to do, and based on what we see, we'll make the right choice. So the choice we make is going to depend on what they're doing. So the easiest thing to do is just make more factories, make more tanks, and that's what we'll do for version 1. What you gotta do, grab NGs, spam factories, see any NGs sitting around, get them to build. So the key to this strategy is to do it as early as possible. You don't want to do T1 and not attack, because you'll wait long enough for them to build up a lot of defense. T2, get them to get T2, and then you will lose. See, our ACU is pushing pretty far up. It's usually a dangerous situation, so you want to put them back a little bit. See these NGs out in the field, get radar exactly at their base. And as you're making factories, just have them spam. Have factories guard each other. And even more factories. One useful thing you can do with this strat is to get NG spamming NGs, or factory spamming NGs, and send it out into the field with a factory attack move to get all these all this free Rex, and never stop attacking. So you can see, if you cannot attack directly at base, raid the other people's mass extractors, things like that. And again, NG's in the field, getting radar and getting free mass. You can see we have 5 factories doing nothing. Have mass production. At some point you will see that you're running low on mass. That's when you should stop making factories. That means you're at capacity basically. But make sure all the factories you've built are actually doing something for you. And never neglect in this strategy to use your ACU. And always scout and make sure that they don't do something crazy with T2. Now you can see minute 10, the strategy is good enough to kill the AI, which is really pretty weak. But you see what our economy, we still have excess power because we didn't stop producing P-gens. But we have no excess mass because we have enough factories to produce just enough tanks. Here minute 11 we kill off the other AI. So hopefully this was useful. So more videos coming.